Hello world, I'm Attila. Today I will talk about the Homo Deus, a brief history of tomorrow book. And this was a book about the future, and that we live in a time of abundance. We have everything that we have ever hoped for. Of course, we have a couple of problems, but I'm confident that we will solve them. And what humanity will do with itself and with our time. And so let's begin. So, in the past, when we had a problem, we were waiting for the God that he will solve it, or she. But now, if we have a problem like climate change or poverty or famine, we try to work on it. And, to illustrate that we live in a time of abundance, is that we had a lot of problems with famine and starvation. But now our problem in the developed world is that people eat too much, or just they eat not enough because they want to have a great body. Of course, we have still a couple of problems in the developing countries, but we are also more vulnerable to plagues because of globalization and because of the interconnectedness of everything. But we do a good job of vaccination and eradicating diseases, like smallpox was eradicated and things like that. With global trade, we live in a time of peace and prosper, and wars are over. We all have the ability to destroy each other and ourselves and the whole earth and human existence a couple of times over, but we don't use them because everyone makes a lot of money. And so what will we do with ourselves? Death will probably be one of the things. It's like the age-old question of humanity. And it just become a technical problem for us. So there are a lot of startups and companies working on this problem. And what if we solve this problem? Then we might have a couple of problems in the future. So, for example, scientists. In sciences, when a generation of new scientists come into the picture, they bring innovation with themselves because the old generation has this old way of thinking. They can't innovate as fast and they can't rethink everything from scratch. And the politicians, so what if Putin or Kim Jong-un would live forever and they would rule forever? That would be a big problem. Another field that we might focus on is happiness. So happiness is our whole a thing that we live for. And we are happy when we get promoted or when we can have a great time with our family. But fundamentally, we are only happy by one thing. And this one thing is the pleasant sensations in our bodies. And that's because our biochemical system rewards us if we do things that ensure our survival, that helps us survive. So if we provide food or we get promoted, then it will increase our chances of survival. And in this exact moment, we are working on manipulating this biochemical system. So putting a brain chip inside your brain. And if we can manipulate this and upgrade humanity with biotechnology to the next level, we can create constant happiness or programmable happiness. You can just push a button on your phone and you will feel happiness inside your mind. And that's very interesting, but I don't know, if you feel this constant happiness, you might get used to this and you might look for other sensations. And the best reason to learn history is not in order to predict the future, but to free yourself of the past and imagine alternative destinies. Of course, you can't free yourself from the past and start from completely scratch. because our beliefs and our experiences shape our selves. And we make use of domesticated animals in terrible ways because we need to ensure their reproduction and their survival in order so that we can have meat, but we don't take care of their desires. So, for example, they would like to have a space, not cramped together in these very small factories and these cages. But these farmers don't have the economical incentives to fulfill their desires, and their needs are still present to eat grass and play in the open. So their needs are still present even if they are not necessary for their survival. And all agricultural religions found ways to justify human superiority and the exploitation of animals. And so humans were in brutal conditions too. So, for example, women didn't have the right to choose their partner, and the peasants were treated like property. So it came as no surprise that they ignored the feelings of animals. And our emotions are just biological algorithms. Algorithms are a set of steps that can be used to make calculations, resolve problems, and reach decisions. So if our emotions are just algorithms, do we have anything special in us, some magical spark that differentiates us from other animals? And first thing that comes to mind is a soul, and there is currently no scientific evidence that we have a soul. The evolution also rejects this theory because evolution is about we have individual parts like our arm, and it evolved over the years to best suit our needs and the ways we use it. But because the soul is one thing, it has no individual parts, it could not evolve individually. And so we can conclude that we don't have souls as the animals don't have them, but we all have consciousness. So what makes us superior to them? The Homo sapiens is the only species on the planet that can cooperate flexibly, and then it said that if we can cooperate, we just live for two things. So we can fight with each other and have sex with each other. So why can't politicians can just this is a kind of random question, but why can't just politicians solve their problems with sex or with fight? And this book says that Homo sapiens can't have hostile or relationships involving sex with more than 150 individuals. So I think this is not a good solution. And as long as what enabled us to cooperate effectively? So when we live in the same environment, we believe in the same things, and we live by the same rules. And this makes it easy to predict the behavior of strangers and organize mass cooperation networks. So to effectively organize other people and work with them and trade with them. And in order to signal that we live in the same things, Homo sapiens usually use visual signs like a turban or a beard or a business suit to signal that you can trust me, I believe in the same things as you. Because if I have a turban, then I probably believe in Allah too. So monkeys can create these stories, these illusions, and this is why they can cooperate in large numbers. So we create these webs of meanings, these belief systems, and like this belief system, like Christianity, like we can't imagine how people were stupid enough to go on a crusade to like fight each other for their religions, and we also can't imagine like how people were stupid enough 30 years ago to like live in the Cold War and to like risk the human survival, and they were able to nuke each other at any given moment. So writing and paper first just described reality, but now it often shapes reality as well. So if you have a given word, or you have some form that have the signature, then an authority might believe in the signature rather than your own word. So these fictions enable us to cooperate better, but the price we pay is that these same fictions also determine the goals of our cooperation. So big companies and money and states and governments only exist because we imagined them to serve us so we can work together more effectively. And it's crazy to think that we sacrifice our lives for states and governments in wars. The follower of every religion is convinced that their religion is the only religion that is true. This is like perhaps the followers of one religion are right, but I think it's highly unlikely. The Jesus and the Martin Luther King, they same had this search for the truth. So they subverted the laws. So they demolished them and they created laws, more laws instead of them to replace them. But without the guiding hands of some religion, it is impossible to maintain large-scale social orders. So even scientists are founded by these religions. Democracy is a religion too, because we believe that like democracy is a good system. And we have this economic pie. So the pie represents the whole resources and welfare of the humanity. And this pie is growing. We have more resources to invest than ever. And there are three kinds of resources: the raw materials, the energy, and the knowledge. Knowledge is the most important, perhaps. But for example, just imagine that you are in a lonely island and you know a lot, but you don't have any raw materials, or you don't have energy, so you can't create anything. And then it talks like climate change. Poor people are the ones who will suffer the most from climate change, but they don't support them. They don't support action against climate change. Why is that? Because climate change would bring economic stagnation or even a decline. And in an economic stagnation, they would suffer as well. So it's not a very good outlook for them. The real source of authority is my own feelings and your own feelings. You choose to believe in a God. Your businesses says that like the customer is always right. Politicians say that like the voter is always right. And knowledge equals experiences times sensitivity. And we as humans have a stream of consciousness and desires. And we have no single one self in ourselves. Instead, we have different and often conflicting inner entities fighting against each other. And customers and voters never make free choices, so their choices are always influenced by something. But what will happen when we build a machine that can predict this choice and that can influence this choice? So algorithms will replace most jobs. In the 21st century, personal data is probably the most valuable resource most humans still have to offer, and we are giving it to the tech giants in exchange for email services and funny cat videos. I found that quote quite funny and sadly true. So these AIs will know everything because they they follow our whole life cycle. So the way we grow up, they know you more than yourself. No, probably not this time, but in the future, this will be the case. So if we can set good goals for this artificial intelligence, then we will live a happy life. But the problem is that we will probably have to sacrifice the individual um, to live this happy life. And we will have these techno religions and techno humanists want to hack the mind to give us new experiences and powers. So build a brain chip into our minds. But the problem is that the mind is incredibly complex. We don't understand it yet. So we might be able to upgrade our body, but it's and the price of losing our minds or losing the control over our minds. And it's a price I'm not willing to pay, because it, instead of upgrading humans, it might downgrade them. And another religion or other belief system is Dataism. And Dataism says that the universe consists of data flow. And the value of each thing or entity is determined by its contribution to data processing. So we are all processing data. And for example, capitalism believes that we don't have a central data processing. Customers, shops, large shops, small shops, bakeries, each process data, and we determine the prices. And if the market makes a mistake, then that mistake is soon corrected. The old school political structures can't process data fast enough. They have all these votes, they have these huge bureaucratic systems, they have to write laws, so they won't be competitive in the future, so something new will replace them. And they also said that Earth as a whole would be one single data processing unit with the output of with the creation of a new and even more efficient data processing system called the Internet of All Things. So I found this fascinating that we are all part of a data processing system with the goal of creating something new. And this new notion is in the Hitchhiker's Guide of the Galaxy 2. You should absolutely read that book or watch the film. It's quite fascinating. And it also says that the whole Earth is just a computer with the goal of finding the answer to all things in life. And so yeah, I found it fascinating. And self-driving cars will replace private cars, and they will emit much less, they will cost us less, so they will be great, but it comes as in the price of the privacy, because the algorithm will always know where I am, because it transports me to the new location then I go. So yeah, that's the price we have to pay for a good future. And Dataism also says that we have value by converting our experiences into data. So knowledge equals experiences times sensitivity. So humans throughout life lives create a lot of experiences, and we will have value to this artificial intelligence, but intelligence by converting our experiences and our wisdom into data that they can process. So I found this book fascinating. I'm I like thinking about the future. It's quite a heavy book, 400 pages at least. So thank you for coming in. You should subscribe to my YouTube channel. I create videos every day for people who don't read enough. I read one book every day and create a review out of it and share the thoughts that I learned from it. And you can also reach me on Twitter, and in the comment section I will put everything in the description. You should check out that. So thank you for coming in. Bye bye.